Hello everyone! Today we're taking a look at the demo for the new, and the first, Castlevania game for the 3DS, Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate. Yes, that whole thing is the title. This game having some pretty big shoes to fill. Castlevania, of course, having a storied history on previous consoles and handhelds. And of course, when someone is gonna play this, since it's on the 3DS, the first thing that is gonna come to people's minds probably are the Igavanias on the DS. And how does it compare? Well, you can tell right off the bat, it looks completely different. It's all polygonal and has the cinematic camera angles that the kids like so much. But we got skeletons, so that would imply we are playing a Castlevania game. Maybe. Maybe because the combat is completely different from any other Castlevania game. Look at that whip. Look how long that whip gets. People seem to have a tendency to compare this game to God of War. Probably because of that. I can just stand halfway across the screen and just whip. It's also the case, just looking at the demo, that the game seems to want to be much more of a hack and slash than any previous Castlevanias. Because both the classic Castlevanias and the Metroidvanias, enemies died pretty quickly. Most enemies dying after 1 or 2 hits. This one trying to be much more of a hack and slash, with enemies that take multiple hits to kill, so any enemy encounter is just going to take a lot longer. Whereas again, in previous Castlevania games, usually you would kill an enemy in just a second and then go on your way. But hey, you have skeletons are throwing stuff at us in arcs. That makes it Castlevania, I guess. We're playing as a Belmont. Trevor Belmont, actually. Yep, hold on. Got a big, tough enemy. He's made of armor. He's got green glowy in his belly. We have to put out the green glowy. So we're Trevor Belmont, the protagonist from Castlevania 3. New timeline, of course. I think Trevor is the son of Gabriel Belmont, who was the protagonist of the first Lords of Shadow. And I also understand that Simon Belmont is in the game. So they're using the names of characters, but it's a completely new timeline from original Castlevania. The combat, I think, really is... I think whether or not you'll like this combat depends on if you were expecting a Castlevania game. If you did, then you probably will not like it. Because this really does not seem to resemble Castlevania at all. And I think it's because of that this game has been getting, let's call it, a mixed reception. Hold on, we can pick up notes left by dying knights as they met their fate. Apparently this knight wrote all this down between the 2nd and 3rd hits. He's a very fast writer. Education a large priority of the people in the world of Castlevania. I think this game suffers from being called Castlevania, honestly. Because that just sets up expectations that are just, at least from the demo, are not here. They just don't meet them. Because when I first played this demo, my first reaction was, does this seem kind of lousy? Alright, so we picked up a new weapon. It's the glaive from Kroll. And we can just sort of... Whoop! We can just sort of use it like that. Takes a few seconds to do anything for some reason. Looks like it's electrocuting them. As I was saying, my first impression of the game was that this seems terrible. As I've been playing the demo a few times, I think I've lightened up a bit on it. Because really, it's honestly kind of shocking. If you've played the previous Castlevanias, if you're very familiar with them, and you have certain expectations on what a Castlevania game is, this is not that. So your first reaction will probably be something like, what the hell is this? And I do think that this game kind of suffers from being Castlevania. It might as well just been a brand new IP, honestly. To have no baggage attached to this. Because really, that's the only thing I think people talk about when they look at this. That they say, this is not really Castlevania. What is this? I can't blame them, because that's the reaction I had. Well, the music's kind of nice. I mean, I don't... It's not traditional Castlevania music, of course. Traditional Castlevania music generally had, some kind of combinations of orchestral instruments and electric guitars wailing in the background. And obviously this is not anything like that. This is more cinematic, atmospheric music. Which again, you might like, you might not. Another thing of this game that I found kind of off-putting was this. You can die pretty easily from falling, which seems odd in a side-scrolling platformer. I mean, I'm sure there was fall damage in the original Lords of Shadow, but that was third-person character action, right? Just doesn't seems kind of odd in a game like this. But again, it is taking a lot of cues from Lords of Shadow. Just seems like you can die pretty easily from falling. And I guess I'm just not really expecting that from this kind of game. And it seems like this game, it takes... I mean, it has similarities on the surface to... Oh, look at that guy. He's dragging his chains. I don't think we can talk to him. That seems like a shame. He looks like he might be kind of bored. I think he'd value a little chat with someone who's not a skeleton. But it's, like I said, I think that this game just kind of... It's similar to Castlevania on the surface level, perhaps is what I would think about it. Like when I was saying that it has skeletons, they throw things in arcs at you. You're using a whip, but I mean, it's completely different type of thing here. And there's hearts. I take hearts, and that fuels my secondary weapon, which in this case is the boomerang. So when I say it like that, it sounds a lot like Castlevania. But then you actually play the game, and it's not. Anyway, this door's locked. We can't get to it. Can't get through it. Actually, I haven't been showing the bottom screen because there's not much been going on there, just a map. I'll show it right here, and you can see my objectives, that red dot. It's below me and to the left. I have to get there, but for right now I won't be going there, I'll be going up. Just because I want to see what's above me. But yeah, so far the only thing that's been on that bottom screen has been the map, so it doesn't seem like we're missing anything else down there. We don't have to draw any seals to defeat bosses, or anything like that. feel kind of bad that I keep referencing older Castlevania games when talking about this, because I guess, you really should judge the game on its own without just talking about what older games were like, right? I mean, you really should. But that's really the only thing I can think about when I'm playing this. That this is... I don't really like this. It's not as good as what came before. I mean, you might like it. Maybe the style is something that's more towards your tastes than older Castlevania games. I mean, I'm guessing the idea was that not many people bought the DS games, so they felt they had to reimagine the series into something more appealing, I guess, to larger audiences, and this is what they came up with, I guess. Look, I found the Ark of the Covenant. And I press B to open. Don't look directly in it. Oh. No ghosts coming out to tear Trevor apart. He could probably handle them anyway. And, the whole... Just from what I'm seeing in the demo, the whole thing just seems like it's trying to be so serious. With the solemn look to it and the sound. Older Castlevanias were a little cartoonish looking, with corny dialogue, and again, like I said, pounding music that really was not appropriate at all for any kind of horror game, but it was great, right? Alright, let's go to what the map is saying is my objective. Alright, since I saw that locked door, that means that large skeleton man jumps through the wooden floor, so I can now get down there. Just seems like much less of a focus on fast combat and platforming, and more of a focus on slower-paced hack and slash, and perhaps not so much in the way of platforming. I don't think that's an improvement, really. But again, maybe you might feel differently. And again, like I said, I think I could come to this much more easily if it wasn't called Castlevania. And we don't have shadow magic, so we'd have to come back here later after we get it, you see? It's a Metroidvania after all. We have to get a new ability so we can come back here and open something up. Do you think that's not a good way to think about it? Like it's invalid to have a low opinion of this, where I might have a higher one if it wasn't Castlevania, if it was a new IP altogether? I don't know. That maybe if you're trying to form an opinion on something like this, that maybe you might say it would be better to... to just come at it looking at it as a game by itself and not, well, these DS games I played a few years ago were not like this and I like those, so I don't like this. But I mean, even if maybe that's not valid, it's still the case. I played those DS games a few years ago and I like them, and this is not like them and I don't like this. So, I mean, even if it might not be valid, that's still what it comes out to, right? Alright, throw in this switch. That's going to unlock that door that was locked. I'm going to have to get back over there before the switch runs out. Or else I'm just going to have to do this all over again. Oh no. Hand of a corpse reaching down and grabbing me. I gotta press B to not die. We have no time for that. We have to get to that door before the time runs out. So inconsiderate of these zombies. See, that's getting faster. I'm gonna have to hurry. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to go back down there and do this again, and no one wants that. No time for you, see? Didn't have time for him. Now I can open this up, and now I have time for him. Like, when I look at a lot of the shots in this game, it seems like they're framed to be a console game, to be seen on a large TV. Because look at the size of Trevor right there. He's only a few pixels on the screen. This doesn't seem like it's been framed for a handheld, really. No, wait. Actually, no, I think I can't do anything with that. I need light magic, it said, before I played it the first time. I can't actually do anything with that until I find light magic. Which doesn't actually happen in the demo. Spoilers. And just... everything seems so dull. Like, does this look interesting? I don't know. This just seems so generic compared to older Castlevania. Yeah, I actually need some of that, I guess. Well, we don't know what that amulet does, but we can guess we'll probably need it. The backgrounds are kind of nice, you know? The whole Gothic fortress look. Alright, it's time to fight El Gigante. Yeah, he's picked us up. Stab him in the hand to get him to let us go. I don't know. It doesn't seem interesting at all, does it? Again, maybe it's just an issue of expectations. Of my perception of what Castlevania is, and how this doesn't seem like any of that. And again, maybe it's not fair to think of it in that way, but I can't help but think of it in that way. It seems like a lot of people do think of it in that way. Alright. Oh, double jump over the boss, so he runs into the wall and knocks himself silly, because he's kinda dumb. Why are large enemies always kind of dumb? That's kind of bigoted, right? Why can't you have just like a really ugly, really large, genius enemy? Like an enemy that's just really smarter than you. I mean, I guess that's harder to program. I don't know, I mean, this... Oh, hold on, I gotta do a little of that. Okay. This boss doesn't seem interesting, right? I mean, I've heard that the boss designs get better, but all I'm thinking about when I'm looking at this... That was kind of funny, seeing it from that perspective. I'm just thinking about something like Dawn of Sorrow, which had bosses like a zombie dinosaur and that giant guy that shot a big laser out of his face. I can't remember his name. And now we have this. Like, it just seems lousy, right? It might not be reflective of the actual game, because I've been reading opinions of it, and apparently the demo is very slow and kind of dull compared to the rest of the game. Like, I've been reading people saying that the bosses in the actual game do get very interesting. So maybe it's just that this is a poor demo. Maybe they chose a bad part of the game to show off. Yeah. You know, something I've mentioned before in other videos is that the demo basically is the thing that you're using to get your game out there. It is your advertisement. And if you're just gonna show something that doesn't show anything good from the actual game to get people interested, why are you even putting out a demo? You should be showing some of the best stuff in the demo, right? Something to make me say, oh man, I want to buy this game right now. I'll pay all the money. See, that boss fight was boring, right? That wasn't interesting to watch. I don't really like being hard on the game because, I don't know, it seems well made. I mean, it's not broken. I'm not having trouble controlling anything. It doesn't seem like it's a bad production.
You cannot pass yet, Trevor.
What? What was that? Well, when can I pass? Is it when I buy the full game? He should have said that. You cannot pass yet, Trevor. You must buy the full game before you can enter this door. Thanks for playing. No, you're welcome. Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate. I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't seem like a bad product. It's just not the product I wanted. But I mean, I guess people didn't want the old product, though, right? Otherwise, they would have bought it, and otherwise they would still keep making it, right? And I guess that's one of the things that maybe bothers me about this is, you know, I like those old games, but when you have an IP, a brand, a franchise that gets reworked, basically it's kind of like the publisher is saying, well, that old stuff kind of sucked. No one liked it, no one bought it, so we're going to rework it and make it awesome. And then you think, oh, the thing I like sucked? No one wanted it? And then they bring out something like this and say, well, this is the new awesome thing, and then you think, oh, but oh, really? Oh. So, I don't know. If this demo is representative of the rest of the game, it's not anything I would want to play, but people have said it gets better. I would hope so, because if the game really was like this, that would mean that this is basically the end of the Castlevania series for me. And that'd be kind of depressing.